We're going to be doing devotions from time to time. Now that many of us are at home, God promises that our times when if He comes, returns in our hearts and our lives, even the fasting, even the praying becomes joyful. There will be so much food. There will be grain that will make the young men thrive. New wine will make the young women thrive. You can see that God's kingdom has come and God's kingdom has won. There is provision for the oil to flow and empower you to do that which you're supposed to do, not by might, nor by power, but by the Spirit of the Lord. Right. We now are doing chapter 14 of the book of Zechariah. The Lord who will be worshipped by all nations. And this is the last chapter. Thank you for joining us and being with us throughout the journey. In case you have missed some of the videos, you can check on Facebook or you can go to my YouTube channel. You'll find all of them there. So in this chapter, we're going to divide it in several scenes. In scene 1, the nations ravaged Jerusalem, verse 1 and 2. And this is in the day of the Lord. Now, you know the word day of the Lord generally means the end times. Now, here we are talking of we are talking about the second coming of Christ towards that time. We're talking about the great tribulation headed to the millennium. So in verse 1 and 2, the spoil is divided. Half of Jerusalem is taken. Then the country is ravished. And that is an attack by the nations upon Jerusalem, which we have talked about before, being the Battle of Armageddon. In verse, if you look at Revelation 16, it refers to this very issue. After the sixth angel poured out his bowl, Satan gathers the nation to fight against Jerusalem, and my, do they get a beating. Also here we are told of a very powerful earthquake that divides the city in Revelation 16, which we are going to see a little below here in Zechariah chapter 14. So in scene 2, verse 3 and 5, we have the descent of the Messiah. This is exciting. And so, the Lord descends upon the Mount of Olives. And you remember in Acts chapter 1, the Lord ascended from Mount of Olives, and the angels tell the guys who are looking at them, the disciples, he said, why do you stare? Because he will come, this Jesus, as the way he has gone up, the same will come down. And he'll come down the same place, according to the scripture, on the Mount of Olives. The Lord's feet stand on Mount Olives. It's split into two, and it creates a valley. This valley is what God's people are going to flee through, and then they are not able to be harmed because they have been able to run away. And we understand that the Lord comes back with the saints. Right? Now, if you believe in the rapture, it means that the rapture has already taken place. The saints have gone up with the Lord, and now they're coming back with Him, angels and the saints, and it's a wonderful coming down for the rule of Christ, which we call the millennial kingdom, for 1,000 years of righteousness on earth when Jesus is the president of the whole world. Forget about the Antichrist. By that time, his time will be up, and now it is Jesus who is the ruler of the whole world. Go to verse 6 and 9. Scene 3. The living waters are flowing from Jerusalem. And this is a day that is only known to the Lord. It's an interesting day. It's not day, not night. And waters will flow from Jerusalem. Half of them will go towards the eastern sea and half to the western sea. Of course, the eastern sea is the Dead Sea, and the western sea is the Mediterranean Sea. And there will be water flowing. Of course, now Jerusalem gets its water from the Gihon springs, and it looks like the Lord will provide some new way, or it will be transformed to be able to provide water throughout, because Gihon springs now does not do that throughout the year. And there will be water, and the Lord will be king. In scene 4, Jerusalem and Judah will be a new land. Jerusalem will be re-inhabited. In fact, it looks like even the topographical landscape of Jerusalem will be changed. It will be raised. It will be a great day. That takes us to scene 5, verse 12 to 15, where the Lord will bring a plague on the nations. And it is a very weird plague, because it says that as these are people who are trying to fight against Jerusalem. This is the battle now, Armageddon, is they're trying to fight. The flesh dissolve while they stand. Their eyes dissolve in their sockets. Their tongues dissolve. The wealth, first of all. So this is some kind of supernatural fight. Some people have thought it is nuclear warfare, but whatever it is, God is judging the peoples and is fighting for Israel. Wealth is brought to Jerusalem, and this plague affects even horses, mules, camels, donkeys. Is a terrible plague. And so those who are looking very powerful today, when Jesus finally comes to fight for his people, they'll realize they are nothing. So, brethren, we are on the right side, and the Lord will fight for us. And then scene 6, the last scene, is awesome. Verse 16 to 21, the nations worship the Lord from Jerusalem. We are told that the nations will come each year to worship the Lord and keep the Feast of Tabernacles. The Feast of Tabernacles is the feast where they remember when they were in the wilderness, and they stayed in booths. All nations will celebrate that in the worship of the Lord through this feast. If a nation doesn't keep the feast, there will be no rain. And Egypt is highlighted because, Egypt without the waters of the Nile is in trouble. But if they do not worship the Lord, they will get no rain. In verse 20, there will be holiness to the Lord on bells of horses. The pots in the houses will be like bowls before the altar. In other words, everything will be holy. Holiness will not only now be at the temple, but even in homes. God's presence will be all over. And there will be no Canaanite in the house of the Lord, meaning there will be no difference now between Gentiles and Jews. Everybody will worship the Lord during the millennium. Jesus now will reign throughout the world for this beautiful time, and it's a wonderful 1,000-year period. Now, I'm not sure whether these nations that are worshiping the Lord will receive salvation, even though they do that, because you will not be able to do anything else. You'll have to worship the Lord, otherwise things will go bad in your case. So a wonderful time is coming when Jesus will reign. After that reign, then later on we'll have the eternal kingdom, when now everything is set up, and then there will be no end. It will be bliss. God will rule. Evil will be totally vanquished. So even if evil is disturbing you, is disturbing us as a nation, is disturbing the world, a day is coming when Jesus, the King of Kings, will reign forever and ever. There will finally be righteousness. Every wrong will be righted, and that will be a great time. I hope you have subscribed to the Lord, and you are one of those who will come back to reign with him in the millennial kingdom. May God bless you. And once again, you can look at all the other videos on our YouTube channel or on Facebook if you scroll up, and may God, and subscribe and share. May the Lord bless you.